Hey, how are you guys? I am making a recipe that I saw on Facebook of all places. I actually really like it when people post videos and recipes and stuff of things that you like. And I'd never heard of Milk Street before, but apparently he's quite popular. And I have some corn that I needed to get rid of. If you have not noticed a trend with me, things kind of start, I need to get things rid of in my cabinet, which is why I have to use them, because I hate waste. Anyway, I am in here because I want to show you a few things while I'm putting this together, and so I wanted to go ahead and let's see if I can get you to come down this way a little bit. So this recipe is for creamy pasta without cream. And I think that's so awesome because creamy pasta is, you know, I like Alfredo much as everybody else does, but it tends to pack on the pounds, and I'm trying to avoid that. So this one had creamy pasta with corn, and what was the cool thing is that you did all the corn and you did it in a separate pan, little butter, little veggies, little onions, and so forth. But then you actually did the pasta water. You took salt and put it in the water, and then you take the corn cobs, and while the pasta water is boiling, you actually boil the corn cobs in the water, and it makes for, excuse me about that, it makes for a pasta sauce that has a little bit of flavor to it, and then of course you use the pasta water to flavor the pasta as well. So anyway, I'm going to pause this and come back to you in just a second. Okay, so I'm back, and my next thing was onions. So let me pull this back here so you can see what I'm doing with it. And I'm using our cutting boards, and as I've mentioned before, I really like these boards because the flavors don't transfer. So today I could put this in here, put it in the dishwasher, and then tomorrow I could rinse it, you know, have it clean and do strawberries with it, and it would not transfer the flavors. I don't know how often you cook. I love to cook quite a bit, and one of the best tricks a chef ever taught me was to keep the bulb on the end of your onion. And as you can see, I sliced it in pieces. So I sliced it this way, and then I went this way, and so now when I'm done, if I finish cutting it this way, I will have a perfectly diced onion and very little waste, which is kind of cool. So, and onions can be a little slippery, so it's actually good to have the little piece to hold on to at the very end. Anyway, so I am doing onions. As you can see, I did some corn. I have a giant bulb of garlic, so I'm going to slice that in half because if I'm going to put it in my garlic press, unfortunately, it's not going to play along. So I'll stick that. Actually, it came into a couple of pieces, which is kind of cool. I have little baby garlics in there. So I will stick that in my garlic press too. And so the recipe calls for, and I'll post it as well, but it calls for, so the corn is going right now, the corn cobs are going in the salted boiling water, which is flavoring it up. I had some baby eggplant that I had in my garden, and you know, eggplant doesn't really taste like anything. So I thought, well, why don't I go ahead and take it and then saute it a little bit and just put it in there for color. So sometimes I wing it. The recipe did not call for it, but you know, I really like eggplant, and so I'm gonna go ahead and do this up as well. So let me slice all this stuff up and I'll come back to you in just a second. Okay, so here we are. And I just wanted to show you that I've got a good rolling boil going, and there's the corn cobs in there. So I've salted that water, and it's just flavoring everything up really nicely. I'm gonna take about a cup of this water out, and I'm gonna put it in reserve because I'm going to use it to start up my pasta, which I'm going to do for the sauce next, so hang on. Okay guys, so I am doing the onions, and I'm doing a little bit of butter in there, and I'm kind of letting those getting softened up and so forth. If you've noticed, I have the new enameled cast iron with the lid. It's so awesome. It's very similar to the Dutch oven where it's got the flavor bumps on it. So when I go to put the lid on it to get the flavors going, it's gonna just all the drippings are going to go right back down on top of it. So I'm just getting ready to add the corn, a little cayenne pepper, and then I'm going to throw in the eggplant and some orange peppers that I added to it. So hold on. Okay, so I'm back and I have added 1.5 cups of the cooking water. I added a little cayenne pepper. It actually called for like serrano peppers or habanero peppers, and I'm just not a huge spice fan, but I don't mind a little cayenne in mine, so that's what I added. And then I salted again. As I've always mentioned, Ina says to salt along the way. That way you don't get like a big mouthful of salt. It's flavored nicely. Over here is the pasta water that I'm working on right now. And so I'm waiting for this. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit and let it kind of all blend together. And I'm going to stick this lid on for a few minutes and see if it comes together. And I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. So I'm back, and in the time that I've been gone, I have put in the eggplant and put in the peppers and put in the garlic, and I also reduced this, I would say probably 10-15 minutes, and I'm going to add a little bit more pasta water to it, but it's getting kind of thick, and so that's kind of what makes it creamy because it's got the corn in it and everything else. So let me just add this pasta. It actually calls for a different type of pasta, more like a pasta that's got like a little twist to it, you know, not penne per se, but some of those fancier pastas that I have such a hard time pronouncing, which is why they're never going to let me live in Italy like I want to. Anyway, I am putting this in here, and then the last thing I'm going to do is when I'm going to add this little pasta water, I'm going to let it all kind of absorb. I'm going to season it one more time, and then I'm going to add some fresh basil and some cherry tomatoes that I have had in the bowl, and they're actually sitting in a little bit of salt as well, seasoning. So hang on for 1 second, and I'll show you the finished product. Okay, so that is my final product. The beauty of this is that I'm going to let this sit a little bit tonight because it's about 9 o'clock and I'm just finishing up doing this. But like I said, I wanted to get rid of the corn so that we could go ahead and eat it because it was ready to go. And so that'll all be ready to go. And then tomorrow I can heat that up really quickly on the stove. It can stay in the pan that it's in right now. And it's going to be just lovely because it's a nice summer pasta. It doesn't have cream in it, but it's very creamy. As you can see underneath here, it's got such a nice, let me see if I can get you in there. Look at that. I mean, that's beautiful. And that's basically just the good pasta water and the corn and letting it reduce. It just adds a lot of magic to it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I am going to share the recipe later on. And like I said, these pans that you are seeing are exclusive. So definitely do not miss out on them because you can get them now before you can buy them. And I love the fact that our enameled cast iron has the same type of handles as our regular cast iron on either side, so you can lift them easily and not hurt yourself by trying to strain and do one handle off the stove. Have a great night. Take care.